Welcome to this NTPEP webinar that will introduce and describe the NTPEP evaluations of epoxy and resin-based adhesive bonding systems, which we're referring to by the acronym ERB. I'm Bill Reel with NTPEP. For those of you who may not be familiar with it, NTPEP is a National Transportation Product Evaluation Program. NTPEP is an AASHTO technical service program that can provide savings to the states in the form of reduced manpower and other resources needed for in-house evaluations. NTPEP can also provide more complete evaluations in cases where states do not have a robust evaluation protocol in place. The way it works is manufacturers submit their products to NTPEP. The products are evaluated following an evaluation protocol that is designed by the appropriate NTPEP technical committee and balloted to the member states. The manufacturer pays the testing fees to NTPEP, and the testing lab works for NTPEP, assuring independent, unbiased evaluations. Results are made available to the member states online through NTPEP data mine, and states can then take those results and compare the NTPEP results with their own spec to determine product acceptance. One of the hurdles of starting an evaluation program such as this is that manufacturers are reluctant to submit their products and pay the testing fees until they see the states require them to do so. At the same time, states may be reluctant to require NTPEP testing until they see that a number of manufacturers have had their products evaluated by NTPEP. Today's presentation will describe the NTPEP evaluation of products that are intended to meet ASTM C881 standard specification for epoxy resin-based bonding systems for concrete. Most, if not all states, specify and use these products. Many states are accepting these products by some form of manufacturer certification alone. For those states, the NTPEP testing can provide a greater level of confidence in product performance through the availability of a truly independent evaluation. A smaller number of states are performing in-house testing. The obvious benefit for those states is the reduction in use of in-house resources to perform this testing. Given the potential benefit to states, it's important that states take the first step to get things started. So I would like to encourage you all to watch this webinar, review the work plan which describes this evaluation, ask questions, and consider how this program can help you. Assuming that you see the benefits here, then it would be helpful to notify manufacturers of epoxy and resin-based adhesive bonding systems of your intent to require NTPEP evaluations of their products. Notifying them of your intent to use this evaluation will encourage manufacturer participation and provide the states with a robust, independent evaluation to base their ERB product acceptance on. This presentation is being recorded for future use, and this and other NTPEP webinars will be available at www.ntpep.org. Questions can be submitted by typing them in the comments and questions box. With that, I'd like to introduce Richie Charmpop of Louisiana, who is the chair of the Epoxy and Resin-Based Adhesive Bonding Systems Technical Committee. Richie.
Yes, Richie Charmpop, as Bill stated, I'm the chair of the epoxy resin-based adhesive system. It's been ongoing working process in a few years. And I also have Patrick Upshaw, vice chair from Florida DOT. Patrick, would you like to say something about yourself?
Thank you, Richie. Again, Pat Upshaw with Florida DOT. Just glad to be a part of the NTPEP program. I know here in Florida, we're very active with NTPEP and a lot of different products. So again, looking forward to continuing with NTPEP and working with other states. Thanks, Richie.
Jonathan?
Hi, yes, I'm Jonathan with AASHTO's NTPEP program. I'm the ERB NTPEP liaison. If you have any questions about the program, you can get a hold of me directly, and then I can filter it through Richie and Patrick as necessary and the rest of the technical committee. My email should be available at the end of the presentation with everybody else's contact information. Thank you.
Okay, and for the program overview, let me move the slide. For the program overview, this evaluation program is based on testing described in the NTPEP, epoxy resin-based adhesive bonding system. In short, ERB work plan, and the link is provided on this presentation. The program is based on the SCM C81 standard test method for epoxy resin-based bonding system for concrete. We also utilize SCM E573 standard practice for internal reflection spectroscopy. The product evaluated by this program are two-component epoxy resin bonding system for application to Portland cement concrete. The standard practice utilize laboratory tests to determine property and evaluate the performance of adhesive for concrete. This protocol does not address the effect of creep on epoxy resin-based bonding system while under load or potential for creep rupture. Additional testing is required for application where creep and creep rupture are critical. Why should state be using the NTPEP ERB program? Well, this program is setting uniform standard for all states to use, and no additional cost to the member state to use the program. And the program reduces state manpower, cost saving to the manufacturer, reduction of redundant testing, and the saving of time in approved product list process to the state program. And typical application for this product is one is the bonding and sealing of a segmental precast element, as shown in the picture. Another typical application is bonding hardened concrete to hardened concrete and other material. Also, bonding skid resistant material to hardened concrete, concrete crack repair, and crack injection. So you see if your state has the high friction overlay product, it can be used. A binder for epoxy mortar and epoxy concrete, patching pothole and surface spalling of the girder member. And a typical application of bonding dowel rod in concrete pavement, bonding freshly mixed concrete to hardened concrete. Classification as defined in this program, according to ACMC 81, is into the type, grade, and class and color. 7 types of the system are distinguished by their requirement. There are 3 grades of the system defined by their characteristic, by the viscosity and consistency. In that, there also has the classes of the system based on the range of the temperature in which they are suitable. We'll be discussing the color epoxy resin system. They are unpigment, but they can be color in the darkened color. The classification type, you got type 1, which is used in non-load bearing application of bonding hardened concrete to hardened concrete and other material. It's by the epoxy mortar and epoxy concrete. For type 2, using non-load bearing application for bonding freshly mixed concrete to hardened concrete. Type 3 is for using bonding skid resistant material to hardened concrete and as a binder in epoxy mortar or epoxy concrete used on traffic bearing surface, such as subject to thermal or mechanical movement. Type 4, using a load bearing application for bonding hardened concrete to hardened concrete and other material as a binder for epoxy mortar and concrete. Type 5, using a load bearing application for bonding freshly mixed concrete to hardened concrete. 6 is for bonding and sealing of segmental precast segment, as in segment by segment erection, and for span by span erection when temporary post tension is applied. Type 7 for use as non-stress carrying sealer for segmental precast element when temporary post tension is not applied, as in span by span erection. The grade, we got 3 types, 3 grades. 1 is the low viscosity, 2 is medium, 3 is non-sagging consistency. In terms of classes, we got A, B, C, D, E, and F. Class A used below 40 degrees and lowest temperature defined by manufacturer. B used between 40 and 60 degrees Fahrenheit. C is used above 60 and at the highest temperature defined by a manufacturer. For D is used between 40 and 65 in the segmental precast. E is between 60 and 80 for segmental precast. F is between 75 for segmental precast and as high as temperature that will defined by the manufacturer. The laboratory testing procedure, this would follow ASTM C81 and ad designated by NTPEP designated ERB 118-07 and the SEM in the viscosity, consistency, gel time, compressive strength, tensile strength, slant shear, contact strength, absorption, linear shrinkage, heat diffraction, thermal compatibility. We also use SEME 573 as for the FTIR for testing individual component and also the combine of the epoxy, part A and part B, after you combine it, just for fingerprinting, make sure that the product stay consistency. The lab testing, there's some picture of the testing that run by the lab that we had a contract with. Submittal and fee, manufacturer submit product version form and payment to the NTPEP. Submission cycle is continuous. Best testing fee, $2,500, and additional fee may be applied based on the type, grade, and class. This typical product will probably be qualified for more than one type, grade, and class. So that combination will make the additional fee go up a little bit. Current testing lab that got the contract is TEC Service in Atlanta. Following the internal testing and reporting of the product, it will be a retest every 3-year cycle. Fine print, what the program do and don't. The NTPEP tests are current laboratory index tests and do not reflect site or field condition which these materials are typically subject to. The version program does not address the effect of creep on epoxy resin-based bonding system while under load or potential for creep rupture. Additional testing is required for application where creep and creep rupture are critical. This program also includes infrared spectra for quantitative analysis based on STM E573, the standard practice for internal reflection spectroscopy. There's two standards out there. One is STM C81 we are currently using, and also AASHTO M235. What the differences? STM AASHTO M235 require the determination of the filler content to properly calculate epoxy equivalent according to the STM D1652. C81 didn't require that. The SCM C81 required the same epoxy equivalent, however, does not refer to the method of determination. In the AASHTO M235 requires CM1084 test method for viscosity, and several test method node for viscosity determination of either determine whether Newtonian or non-Newtonian, and they will call on different test STM to be used. STM C81 require the STM is spelled out to use a D2556 test method for the viscosity. AASHTO M235 it's in the future will be added if the state require that's gonna looking into using the program. It require in the specification that your specification use AASHTO M235. We're looking into adding this to the work plan in the near future. The also the two program, the other program that we have on the NTPEP is the high friction thin overlay. If the manufacturer submitted to that program and have the test data, we can import that test data into the ERB program. The AASHTO program has additional test requirement in addition to this, and you can look it up at the work plan of HFTO. Current technical committee member, myself, Patrick, Jonathan, and a lot of other state member down the list, and that member is listing is on a link on the NTPEP. And if you are interested to join the committee, send your request to me or to Patrick, and we'll put you on the committee. Data mine, it's will be the following will be based on the data mines, and Jonathan will turn this over to you.
Thank you, Richie. Yes, so right now the ERB program is not currently accepting product applications and performing evaluations because we are actually revamping the ERB data mine module to accommodate the recent changes to the project work plan that were in an attempt to get it more in line with C881. Anticipated date of that being done is probably around the end of October, so I'm guessing around the beginning of November you'll see notifications coming out that we are going to be accepting applications and begin performing evaluations with TEC down in Atlanta. Just to talk a little bit about data mine itself, though, if we go to the next slide there, Richie. So data mine is where all of our data is uploaded, where manufacturers go to review their data, and where state members can also go then and take a look at the data from individual manufacturers. The picture you're seeing here is kind of a snapshot of the main page you'll land on. I always say it's a good idea, make sure you have your login credentials entered. If you don't have login credentials, register with the website and make sure you are using them, because as a state member, you'll get to see more than you would see as just someone coming in as a public non-registered member. But if you're looking for the ERB module, the tabs at the top of the page will kind of direct you there. You'll go to construction, and then about halfway down there, you'll see the epoxy and resin-based adhesive bonding systems. You'll click that, and then the next slide, please. The next slide will this will be kind of the view you end up coming into. You'll see a list of products with NTPEP numbers associated individually by product. You'll have the ability to manipulate your search to look at different manufacturers, and you can of course search product types, grades, classes, etc., depending on what you need, and the list will populate accordingly. You can then select an individual product to get in and actually look and review the data. You'll also be able to export data from the refined search list that you use, if you're a logged in account, that is. So if you're logged in and you select just one manufacturer, and then you'll have an export button that will allow you to export just that manufacturer's data for all of their products. Or, like I said, you can click on an individual NetPEP number and view individual product data. Next page, please, Richie. This next sheet is kind of what would happen if you clicked on one of those NetPEP numbers. You get some basic product overview information, basically the information that we collect from the manufacturer at the time of the application. So what type or types does the product fit under? What was it evaluated against? What grade was it? And then what class or classes was it also evaluated under? And then if you scroll to the next page, Richie. So the data itself will display right within the module itself. There'll be tables. It's very similar to most of the modules that you're probably familiar with. Data is all right there in table form. You'll have the ability to use some advanced search features when you're trying to narrow down particular parameters you may be interested in within that data set. But the data will all be right there for a printout, and for a direct printout. And as I mentioned, you can also print multiple sets of data at once into an Excel file. Now, the tables themselves are going to look a little differently than what you're seeing here. As I mentioned earlier, we're still revamping the module to take into account the new testing, and that's still not finalized. So until that point, I want to at least get you guys an idea of what you're going to see for data. And then the next page, Richie. I think that's about it for me. If you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me anytime. As Richie's already mentioned, the program looking about $2,500 a product. The fee structure itself will be outlined whenever I send the notification that we are open to accepting applications. I'll make sure to send fee sheets out so you can get a better idea of exactly what the pricing will be. The submission cycle is planning to be a continuous cycle. That means first come, first serve. So as you submit your products, the testing facility, and as the testing facility receives those products from you shipping them to them, they'll test them in the order they're received, and data will be output in the order it's received as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jonathan. And this is the information, the link that you can look up into the program. Again, you go into the NetPEP website as a wealth of information on any product that you're interested in to going into. And I hope this presentation spiked the interest in using the program. And thank you everybody for attending. And if you have any questions, please contact us, and we'll be glad to answer all the questions.
Yes, and real quick, sorry to interrupt, but if you do have immediate questions that you'd like us to answer, if you use that questions tab on the webinar toolbar within the next minute or two, I would be more than happy to field a few questions from the audience. I am not getting anything. So I guess with that, then, we will conclude this webinar. Thank you, everyone, for taking some time today and joining us to learn a little bit more about the ERB program. Thank you.
Thank you.